I've recently noticed how off-putting I find an abundance of dialogue, exposition, or text in manga. But this doesn't mean that all text in manga is bad, so I'm going to break it down. Manga is a visual medium. Many people would argue that it's a book, so it can have words. But those words can be criticized if they aren't executed efficiently. The biggest reason I say manga is a visual medium is because you can create a manga that has no words, just pictures, and manga fans can enjoy it. But you can't make a manga with only words. It is basically a novel at that point. Light novel fans may enjoy that, but people who only enjoy manga won't, because manga is a visual medium. In Fairy Tail, before the time skip, there was a chapter where Natsu left the guild to train. This chapter, 417, has absolutely no dialogue, yet as manga readers, we can understand exactly what's going on and even enjoy it as much as a chapter with dialogue. The reverse is not possible. Now this isn't to say that dialogue should be abandoned. This is just me saying that visuals come first. Next is how I determine what is too much dialogue in manga. How I know there is too much is if it feels like I'm staying on a panel or page for too long against my will. I'm not sticking on that page because I'm admiring the art or trying to break down the dialogue, but because there is too much dialogue. When I get this feeling of moving too slow, it kills my desire to continue reading the manga, or I just start skimming the words. As a visual medium, a manga shouldn't have me feeling bored or skipping because of the dialogue. My approach to determining what is too much is to imagine each panel as a shot in an anime. If there is dialogue or monologue in that panel, the shot does not change until all the lines have been delivered. If the characters are doing a repetitive action like walking, they will continue walking from the same camera angle until the lines are finished. Then I ask myself, does this anime scene look visually boring or lazy? If my answer is yes, then there is too much dialogue on the page. If there is one regular sized text bubble per panel, the scene will usually be fine, but once manga start getting bold with their bubble count, the anime scene begins to lose my interest. Without changing too much of a scene, there are two ways to reduce this dialogue problem. The first is to increase the amount of panels and pages, but when I say increase panels, I am not talking about cheating, such as filling a panel with a word bubble or text, because if we turn that into an anime scene, there'd be nothing on screen. I mean, each panel has good or passable art. Instead of giving a panel 5 different word bubbles, spread those bubbles between 3 to 5 panels. That way, the imaginary anime scene isn't taking lazy shortcuts by staying on one shot, but is instead switching between shots and maybe even showing some movement to keep our attention. The downside is that the artist has to draw more and increase the page count. The second solution is quite simple: decrease the amount of dialogue. There is no way that a story actually requires all that dialogue to move the plot forward. A good writer can convey the necessary information with condensed dialogue. A great universal example is how anime adaptations cut down on the dialogue. AOT is the most recent example. If the anime fans can have a grasp of the story without every single line of dialogue, then there's a good chance that those cut manga lines weren't that essential and could have been cut from the manga as well. The downside of this is that writers can't dump tons of exposition and words into their manga without thinking first. In both of these solutions, our imaginary anime adaptation of the manga scene doesn't suffer. These are my two primary solutions with making as minimal changes as possible. Applying these solutions doesn't mean that the dialogue is suddenly good. It just means that it's more bearable in manga format. For actually making exposition interesting, there are many other techniques outside of just manga. Show don't tell and having exposition attack and affect characters are some examples. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and check out my manga. All important links will be in the description.